Welcome back. Today we are on page 11, lesson number 22. We're working on average rate of change, otherwise known in our world as slope. So for exercise number 1, it says finding the average rate of change is the same thing as finding the slope of a line. So there's these fancy rules right here. What we're going to look at is this. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. These little ones and twos, they're not exponents. They're just basically names. We name our points, which we'll do in a minute. Our first step is we're going to write the points, and then we're going to substitute them into the slope formula. So if you look here, exercise number 1, our graph, our function is given below. Find the average rate of change. So let's get a different color going here. So now it says x equals negative 6. So here's my origin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the point, negative 6, 1. So what we're doing is we're using our x number to find the corresponding y part to make a point. Now we have x equals 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's our graph, and this is the point 4, 3. So now what we're going to do is write down our formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And let's name them. This right here is our first point, so this is going to be x1 and y1. And then the next one's our second point, so that's going to be called x2 and y2. So take a sec, pause this if you need to, and plug the numbers into the formula. So y2 goes in here, y1 goes in there. So we have 3 minus 1 over x2 minus x1, 4 minus negative 6. Now, we put this into our graphing calculator, or we just straight up evaluate it. 3 minus 2 is 2. 2 negatives here make a positive, so we have a 10. 2 over 10. That's okay to say. It does simplify to 1 over 5. So this means for every 5 spaces on the x, we go up 1 space on the y. So ready? 1 space up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over. Then we do it again. Up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over. Let's do the second one. So now here we have x equals negative 2. Let's find here's negative 2. Here's my point, negative 2, negative 3. So I'm going to write that down here. And then we have 2. This is the point, 2, negative 1. Now, take a minute, write your formula down. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And remember, our first point is x1, y1. Our second point is x2, y2. Now plug all those values into that formula. Do a different color. Negative 1 minus negative 3 all over 2 minus negative 2. And you end up with, when you put that into your calculator, 1/2. We're going to go up 1 space and write 2 spaces. So now what I'm going to do is pause my video and do A and B on this page. You do it and check your work. Or at least I'm going to try to pause my video. Okay, so you can see I filled in my work. The one thing I didn't write on here, I didn't label my points. I did, so this is x1 and y1 over here on the right. left, my bad. And this is x2 and y2. Okay, so I plugged those in. Now, one thing I want to point out, here I got my slope was 2, which means from this point I go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So you can find the slope on a graph by counting. Okay, now let's look down here on letter B. My slope is -3. So if I start here, I go down 3, right 1. Down means negative, over 1. Same thing. So you can use the formula or you can use counting. Kind of cool. So now we're going to do C and D together. And then for homework, students are going to finish the rest of this. So I'm going to write the formula on both of these. y2 minus y1 over x2. Okay. So for C, we have x1 and y1. And then this guy is x2 and this one is y2. So I'm going to plug my numbers in. 1 minus 1 over -6 minus 6. So if you did this by hand, you would get a 0 on top and a -12 on the bottom. And that simplifies to 0. What that means is you have a flat line. You have a horizontal line. Okay, now letter D. If you're feeling comfortable, start this one. It's going to be weird. x1, y1, and this is x2 and y2. So we have -2 minus 2 over 5 minus 5. So you end up with -4 over 0. If you put this in our calculators at school, you would get an error. What that means, let me see if I can move this up, is we have no slope. And let me just explain real quick what that means. Here's our graph. If I sort of kind of plotted these points, so let's say I had 5, 2, and 5, -2, it makes a vertical line. Now, the reason this is a no slope is this guy right here is not a function. Nope, it fails the vertical line test. So in our function world, this part doesn't exist. So your job is to finish up pages 12 and 13 just by practicing. And as always, if you have questions, please stay for extra help. Take care, guys.